Question 1. A company has an on-premises data center and wants to extend its storage capacity using AWS. They need low-latency access to frequently used data and a cost-effective way to store archived data. What is the best solution? Options: A. Use AWS Storage Gateway in cached volume mode with S3 as the backing store. B. Use AWS Direct Connect to sync on-premises storage with S3 Glacier. C. Use EBS volumes mounted to an EC2 instance connected to the on-premises network. D. Use an S3 bucket with transfer acceleration enabled. Correct answer: A. Use AWS Storage Gateway in cached volume mode with S3 as the backing store. Explanation: AWS Storage Gateway in cached volume mode provides low-latency access to frequently used data while storing the entire dataset in S3 for scalability and cost efficiency. Why not other options? Option B. Direct Connect is a network service, not a storage solution. S3 Glacier is suitable for archiving but not for low-latency access. Option C. EBS volumes are designed for high-performance EC2 instances and not ideal for hybrid storage solutions. Option D. S3 transfer acceleration improves upload speeds but does not provide low-latency hybrid storage. Question 2. A company is working with third-party developers who need temporary access to an S3 bucket for uploading data. The solution must ensure security and adhere to the principle of least privilege. What should you do? Options: A. Create IAM users for the developers and assign them permissions to the S3 bucket. B. Use pre-signed URLs for the developers to upload objects to the S3 bucket. C. Create an S3 bucket policy that allows access from the developer's IP addresses. D. Enable public access to the S3 bucket and restrict access using object ACLs. Correct answer: B. Use pre-signed URLs for the developers to upload objects to the S3 bucket. Explanation: pre-signed URLs allow temporary, limited access to specific objects in S3, ensuring the principle of least privilege. Why not other options? Option A. Creating IAM users increases administrative overhead and may lead to security risks if credentials are mishandled. Option C. IP-based restrictions are less secure and do not limit access to specific objects or timeframes. Option D. Public access violates AWS security best practices and risks exposing sensitive data. Question 3. A company runs a critical workload on an RDS MySQL database in a single region. They need to implement a disaster recovery solution to replicate data to another region while minimizing costs. What should they do? Options: A. Enable multi-AZ for the RDS instance. B. Create a read replica in another region. C. Use AWS DMS to replicate the database to another region. D. Use Aurora Global Database for cross-region replication. Correct answer: B. Create a read replica in another region. Explanation: read replicas provide cross-region data replication for RDS at a lower cost than multi-AZ or Aurora Global Database. Why not other options? Option A. Multi-AZ is for high availability within the same region, not cross-region disaster recovery. Option C. DMS is suitable for migrations and ETL workflows, but read replicas are more efficient for ongoing replication. Option D. Aurora Global Database is not applicable for RDS MySQL and is more expensive. Question 4. A company wants to build a serverless solution to process images uploaded to S3. The solution should resize the images and store the results in another S3 bucket. What is the best architecture? Options: A. Use S3 event notifications to trigger a Lambda function for image processing. B. Use an EC2 instance with a scheduled task to monitor and process new files in S3. C. Use AWS Glue for processing and storing resized images. D. Use CloudFormation to deploy an auto-scaling group for EC2 instances to process images. Correct answer: A. Use S3 event notifications to trigger a Lambda function for image processing. Explanation: Lambda is ideal for serverless, event-driven workflows. S3 event notifications can trigger Lambda to process files as they are uploaded. Why not other options? Option B, EC2 requires ongoing management and is not serverless. Option C, AWS Glue is designed for ETL, not real-time image processing. Option D, autoscaling groups introduce unnecessary complexity and cost for this use case. Question 5. A global e-commerce company needs to serve static website content to users worldwide with low latency. They also require DDoS protection and secure HTTPS access. What architecture should they use? Options: A. Host the static content in an S3 bucket with a bucket policy. B. Use S3 with CloudFront, AWS WAF, and ACM for HTTPS. C. Use EC2 with an autoscaling group and elastic load balancer. D. Use RDS with S3 for hosting static content and Route 53 for DNS. Correct answer: B. Use S3 with CloudFront, AWS WAF, and ACM for HTTPS. Explanation: CloudFront provides low-latency content delivery globally. AWS WAF protects against DDoS, and ACM simplifies HTTPS setup. Why not other options? Option A. S3 bucket policies alone do not provide low-latency content delivery or HTTPS. Option C. EC2 introduces higher costs and management overhead compared to S3 and CloudFront. Option D. RDS is for databases, not static content hosting. Question 6. A company collects clickstream data from a website and wants to process the data in real time to generate insights. They need a scalable, serverless solution. What should they do? Options: A. Use Kinesis data streams to ingest the data, Kinesis data analytics to process it, and store results in S3. B. Use SNS to collect data, process it with Lambda, and store results in DynamoDB. C. Use an EC2 instance running Apache Kafka to ingest and process the data. D. Use SQS to collect data and process it with an autoscaling group of EC2 instances. Correct answer: A. Use Kinesis data streams to ingest the data, Kinesis data analytics to process it, and store results in S3. Explanation: Kinesis is purpose-built for real-time streaming data ingestion and processing. S3 provides scalable and cost-effective storage. Why not other options? Option B. SNS is for notifications, not high-throughput streaming data. Option C. Kafka on EC2 introduces management overhead compared to managed Kinesis. Option D. SQS is designed for message queuing, not real-time streaming. Question 7. A company is hosting a multi-tier web application on AWS. The application has a public-facing web layer and a private application layer. They want to ensure high availability and automatic failover for both layers. What should they do? Options: A. Deploy the web layer on EC2 instances with an elastic load balancer, ELB, and the application layer on EC2 instances in a single availability zone. B. Use auto-scaling groups with an application load balancer, ALB, for the web layer and deploy the application layer in multiple availability zones behind a network load balancer, NLB. C. Use an auto-scaling group for the web layer and a single EC2 instance for the application layer in a single availability zone. D. Deploy both layers on EC2 instances in a single availability zone with an ELB for the web layer. Correct answer: B. Use auto-scaling groups with an application load balancer, ALB, for the web layer and deploy the application layer in multiple availability zones behind a network load balancer, NLB. Explanation: the web layer requires an ALB for routing HTTP/HTTPS traffic, and auto-scaling ensures high availability. The application layer should use an NLB for lower-level TCP traffic and be deployed in multiple AZs to provide redundancy and failover. Why not other options? Option A. Using a single AZ for the application layer eliminates failover capabilities and risks downtime. Option C. A single instance for the application layer is not highly available and cannot handle failover. Option D. Deploying in a single AZ fails to meet high availability and fault-tolerant requirements. Question 8. A company has critical data in an S3 bucket in the S East 1 region. To comply with disaster recovery requirements, they want to replicate the data to the AP Southeast 1 region. What should they do? Options: A. Enable S3 versioning and manually copy data to the AP Southeast 1 region. B. Enable cross-region replication, CRR, on the S3 bucket and configure the destination bucket in AP Southeast 1. C. Use S3 transfer acceleration to replicate the data to the destination region. D. Use AWS Snowball to transfer data between regions. Correct answer: B. Enable cross-region replication, CRR, on the S3 bucket and configure the destination bucket in AP Southeast 1. Explanation: CRR automatically and asynchronously replicates S3 objects to a bucket in another region, meeting disaster recovery requirements. Why not other options? Option A. Manual copying is error-prone and not scalable. Option C. S3 transfer acceleration improves upload speed but does not replicate data across regions. Option D. Snowball is designed for physical data transfer and is not suitable for ongoing replication. Question 9. A company is running a stateful web application on AWS and is experiencing scaling issues. Each EC2 instance needs to maintain session state, which is critical for the application's functionality. What is the best solution? Options: A. Use auto-scaling with EC2 instances and elastic load balancer with sticky sessions enabled. B. Use auto-scaling with EC2 instances and store session state in EBS volumes. C. Use auto-scaling with EC2 instances and store session state in Amazon ElastiCache. D. Use an auto-scaling group and replicate session state between instances using a shared file system. Correct answer: C. Use auto-scaling with EC2 instances and store session state in Amazon ElastiCache. Explanation: Amazon ElastiCache provides a managed, in-memory caching service, Redis or Memcached, that stores session data independently of EC2 instances, allowing horizontal scaling. Why not other options? Option A. Sticky sessions can limit load balancing efficiency and create scaling bottlenecks. Option B. EBS volumes are tied to specific EC2 instances, which does not support seamless scaling. Option D. A shared file system introduces complexity and latency issues. Question 10. A retail company collects large volumes of transactional data daily and wants to analyze the data to generate sales reports. The solution must support complex queries and scale automatically. What service should they use? Options: A. Amazon RDS with MySQL. B. Amazon DynamoDB with Streams. C. Amazon Redshift. D. Amazon Aurora with Global Database. Correct answer: C. Amazon Redshift. Explanation: Redshift is a fully managed data warehouse designed for OLAP, online analytical processing, use cases like sales reporting, and supports complex queries on large datasets. Why not other options? Option A. RDS is better suited for OLTP, online transaction processing, and cannot handle data warehouse scale queries efficiently. Option B. DynamoDB is a NoSQL database optimized for key-value access, not analytics. Option D. Aurora is optimized for transactional workloads and not designed for large-scale analytics.